You could take me back 20 years and hand me a $1 bill, I'd be a billionaire today. $1. So all we need is $1.
You could be the best installer on the planet. You can't sell anything. You don't make any money. You're going to go out of business.
He's a CEO, founder. He's had multiple HVAC companies that he's scaled. Now he's partners in multiple ones. He also has a training group, and he puts on masterminds and conferences all around home services. Been in the business for a lot of years. Victor, thanks for flying in. Thanks for coming in and being on the podcast, brother.
Yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, I've listened to the podcast pretty much weekly now. So, obviously, I'm excited to be on it and excited to, share some of the stuff that I've gone through and hopefully help some people.
We're going to talk today, Victor, a lot about your journey, what you've done, the good, the mistakes you made, right? You've done a lot of good, right? I tell people.
We had enough time for the mistakes. I don't know.
Nah, I tell people this all the time. The greatest part about America, people love a comeback story. Just as long as you do the right things, right? So, why don't you introduce yourself real fast, tell people who you are, what you do, and then we're going to talk about your successes and failures today.
So my name is Victor Rancor. I am the CEO of the Rocket Group. We invest in small HVAC businesses and help them scale and, ideally, exit, for large multiples. Along with that, my background, I got into HVAC a decade ago in 2015, answered a Craigslist ad to become an HVAC tech. Didn't know what HVAC stood for. All I know is I was broke as hell. I was living in a room in a house and I had a 5-month-old baby I had to support. So I took the job at a company called Service Champions, which is now a multi-billion-dollar business out of Southern California. And they gave me an opportunity and I fell in love with it. In 2015, I remember they first showed me the pay plan. I didn't do HVAC before. I was doing oil changes in Cleveland, Ohio, like 2 years before. That was $6 an hour. And then also they showed me the pay plan. I called my girl and I said, hey, you're never going to have to work another day in your life. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're going to pay me this much money to go sell a fucking fan motor. And I'm like, this is great. And I became addicted to it. Very quickly became the number one selling technician in the country, then the number one salesman for HVAC in the country in 2017. I left the company. I got recruited, got paid a shit ton of money to leave that company to go work at another one. And that's where I got to learn the ins and outs of actually the running the business side. Instead of just selling, I was the sales manager, service manager, general manager. Very quickly, I realized that I should be running my own business. And about 9 months later, I started a company called Absolute Airflow. I had about $10,000 to my name. Literally was at my buddy's pizza shop drinking beer. And I'm like, man, he's like, you should start your own business. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I will. Went home that night, laid on my living room floor, laid on the floor, writing down names, trying to come up with a name for this HVAC company. Came up with a name. 5 days later, I left my job. I was making $500,000 a year selling air conditioning. Quit that job, started Absolute Airflow, and we quickly became one of the biggest companies in Southern California. We grew from $0 to $60 million in revenue over the course of 4.5 years, and exited that business and had failed a lot in that. And now I get to help contractors not make those mistakes.
Let's talk about let's talk about this first before we jump with that. The conference, the coaching groups, right? Like me and you. I said I'm going to do a roofing conference. You said don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like people don't realize what goes into conferences, and most people lose money in conferences. Most people lose money. People think you make this money in the conference. Like last year, I lost $250,000. I told you that. We're driving out. I lost $250,000. Like, what? I'm like, yeah. He was like, I lost millions. Almost, what do you say, over 2 million, right?
Yeah. And of course, I've been doing conferences since 2021. I remember during COVID, COVID hit, all the conferences got canceled, right? So I threw my first event in a parking lot. I had Ken Goodrich showed up in the parking lot in my shop during COVID, and we had all these people together, and I'm like, I'm going to throw a big conference in Vegas next year. And we threw the first one, and it was called the Service Hero event. And we threw that event. We had Grant Cardone and, we had Ken Goodrich, Ishmael, Tommy Mello, all these guys spoke at the conference in 2021. I think that I was kind of the one that got them all into conferences at that point. None of them were doing those. I was the only one had the balls to do it. We threw it together. We lost a couple $100,000 on that one. That was the first experience and doing it. And then every year we got to go bigger because people aren't going to come back for a smaller event. You got to get bigger names. And I had Joe Montana and all these people on the stage, and Brad Lees and Andy Elliott's and all these guys on my stage, and lost a couple $100,000 on that one. But we were making it back, right? Like, in the back end, we were doing our sale of our platform, our online training platform, stuff like that. But it was never fixing it wasn't ever keeping up with the losses on it.
I never had nothing to sell. Like I told you, I swear, so when you got to get something to sell this year, Lance. Is what you said. You better sell something. I'm like, well, I better figure it out fast.
Well, my first one, we were supposed to have our online training platform ready for the event. It wasn't ready. So we had nothing to sell at the first event. So we really got our ass kicked. And then the second one, the Vegas one, we had some stuff to sell. We did really good with our business blueprint. But yeah, we went in the Austin event, and people don't realize what you have to do up front. You have to make a commitment to the hotel. You got to pay money up front.
It's all paid before you show up.
Yeah, so I went
$1 million plus.
I paid
Cash.
I paid 1.2 million liquid to the event in Austin, and we committed to a certain amount of rooms. And I hired an event coordinator that cost me $500,000. My event coordinator was very expensive. They did a great job, but they signed me up. They told me, here, sign this contract. Well, I was signed up for 1,000 rooms. I'm like, I don't even have 1,000 people coming to the thing. So I get done with this conference, and we're like, okay, we made it through. We lost money on it, lost all the money up front or whatever on the conference. Then I get sued. Hotel calls me and says, hey, you got to pay us $850,000 for unsold hotel rooms. And I said, what? What do you mean unsold hotel rooms? Like, we got to give you over $1 million liquid up front. Like, we had everybody. They
don't care.
The hotel was sold out. They don't care. They come after you because you had a dollar sign. I'm going through litigation for almost 2 years. $850,000 they want. Now I've already, $300,000 in attorney fees. So it really kind of turned me off. And, then obviously they're constantly trying to get people to come, and then you have to promote yourself. And then people give you this shtick that you're a guru and all this stuff. It's like, you're trying to promote your business. And people don't realize me promoting and all that. I don't want to do that shit, but I have employees, I have staff, I have people I have to pay and take care of to do all this stuff. So, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. That's why I don't do them anymore.
Well, it's funny because we're not making the conference bigger. We're keeping it to 900 people again.
Yeah.
Like, we're not, like, people are like, are you going to go bigger? Me and Bill are like, no, like, we had 900 people at our first one. Close to it. We're going to keep it at 900. We're only bringing 2 big speakers in, paid speakers. We're not paying anyone else. Like, I don't feel like you need paid speakers. I feel like you need people that actually done this shit. Like, Tommy Mello doesn't, I know he charges some people, but he's done it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ishmael, whether you like him or not, he's done it. Tom Howard's done it. Ellen Rohr's done it. You've done it. Like, I'd rather hear someone that's done it. Then no offense to these guys, they get up there and they've never built a fucking business themselves. They've never exited a business. We were talking today, me and you. The one thing I have going for me is that everyone knows I sold 6 businesses. Like, that's out there. So, like, nobody can ever walk and be like, Lance, you're a bullshit artist. She didn't sell. No, everyone knows. First thing to say, no, he did. He did. We can name the PE firms he sold to.
Yeah.
And that helps tremendously, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
because everyone that comes to a conference wants to sell their business eventually, for the most part, grow it and sell it.
Yeah, I mean, it's track record, right? Once you have the track record, then it's like you can't take that away. Once you got that patch that you got to connect to the business, you can't take that away. And I'd agree. Like I said, I've had big names. Joe Montana was a good draw, actually. That was probably one of my favorite things from all the conferences, is sitting on the stage interviewing Joe Montana. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing up here with a legend?
This isn't a shot at Gary Vee. I thought Gary Vee did a nice job last year. I did, right?
Yeah, I did.
I thought he did a nice job. He didn't sell 1 ticket for us. Not 1 ticket. We got him 2-3 weeks before the conference. He didn't sell 1 ticket for us. And for the price that you pay him, $250,000, like, he's not worth it.
I mean, I hired Grant Cardone my first year as $250,000,
I know, but he might sell tickets. He might not even sell tickets for you. I don't know. Like, I don't think these guys sell tickets.
Well, Grant Cardone came in and tried to steal my customers. He came in and started Cardone Ventures at the same time. It was literally hustling my clients out the back door after I paid him $250,000.
I mean, I talk about that myself. You saw what happened to me today, right? Like, people are crazy. Here's a question for you. A lot of people think that what you do is easy, home service business. I'm just going to, you know how many people say to me, you know how many people I know that said, I'm going into roofing because they saw me in roofing. They saw me in HVAC, like, and you got to spend the day with me today. I'm supposed to be with my kids. How'd that work out?
I mean, the best part watching you is kind of like, that's, I talk to people, I was like, that's who I want to emulate. Like, you're not at work. You built a business. You built a sustainable business. You got a team that's working nonstop. Like, everywhere I look, we're at the ranch right now, and everybody's working. His staff is working all day. Lance is hanging out at his kid's wrestling match. He was going around. He was being able to have that fruit.
McDonald's.
We picked up some McDonald's. Yeah, I think we didn't even go through the drive-thru. We walked up, had to play with those little digital things, and bought some McDonald's. And Lance has been able to just finally built that. He's built the infrastructure around him, right? You can't just go in as a single person that doesn't know anything about an industry, and then all of a sudden you want to do it. Like, you have to build an entire team. The same thing with me and HVAC. Like,
and to build a team costs money.
If you want good people, right? There's a level.
But it costs money. Like, people are like, I'm like, I lose money in all, I told you, in all my businesses in the first year to 18 months. Most people can't adore that.
Yeah.
And I'll take money out of my companies.
Yeah.
Most people can't sustain that. Most people are like, I'm going to go into roofing so I can make money. I'm going to HVAC. That's fine, but you can't suck the vacuum dry. Can you talk about that? How all the money has to go back in?
Yeah, so and that's a lot of times you see is like why the company's like, well, I don't know why I can't grow, and I see their boat and I see their vacation home and I see all the stuff and they're taking money, extracting it out of the business, and the same thing with Absolute Airflow. Like I invested everything back in, and that's kind of part of the reason why I started doing sales training. Like I was really good at sales, so that's how I started the coaching thing. It wasn't business coaching, I was doing sales training. But I was doing sales training and I was taking that money I made from sales training and investing it back in my business to grow it, to buy more trucks, to do more reps and play more on marketing. So, I put everything back into that business and it's those first couple of years are rough. And especially when you're trying to figure it out. If you're going into an industry, like I know now, if I go into an HVAC business, I know exactly what marketing to start with, what to do, like what do I need to do first and foremost. A lot of guys, they come in, they want to be a roofer and they're like, I'm going to go spend all this cash. Well, you got to figure out a way to bring it back first.
Well, I say this all the time. There isn't a business I can't go into and scale. But I don't care what it is. I can take any business and scale it. I've done it in verticals from IT to digital marketing to roofing to HVAC to painting. My popcorn company is off to its best start. Like the guys like, holy shit, like there isn't a business I can't grow, right? But the problem is, I said to you today, the first thing you got to recruit is salespeople, and you better have a damn good culture. Like I saw you today talking to your salespeople, and I was impressed. Like here you are on FaceTime this morning back in California or wherever you were talking. I think it was Austin, right?
Yeah, Arizona.
Arizona. That was probably a 3-hour difference.
Yeah.
So that was 8 o'clock in the morning there, and you're coaching these guys up and talking to them, and you're talking about burning through leads and money, like the things that you're supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
95% of the people aren't doing that. Can you talk about your coaching strategy and why you're so involved with coaching? Because I witnessed it firsthand. I start laughing. You got at 2 o'clock last night in the morning.
Yeah.
And 8 o'clock, you're on the phone coaching these people.
I mean, people think you just show up and you make money, right? Like for me, I know what I'm good at, and I'm, I don't know anybody that's better than me at HVAC sales. So like, that's what and when I go into a business, the first thing I'm going to lead with is sales and what way I know and pour into the knowledge. And I think one of the kids I was talking to today, I partnered with this business less than 120 days ago, $85,000 a month business. Now we're pacing for $1 million, right?
Is that what I saw in service time today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a hockey stick. I started laughing. I said, yo, it's only been like 3-4 months, Victor.
Yeah.
Like this. And then it's like, boom, $1 million.
Yeah. We're taking from 85,000 a month. We'll do $1 million we'll finish $1 million this month. And I took this kid, a 19-year-old kid, and I say, look, if you trust me and you follow my process, I'm going to make you rich, right? 19-year-old kid, he's never sold a damn thing.
He did $20,000 a month last month.
Yeah. 3 months in a row, he's made over $20,000 a month, and now I'm trying to push him to $30,000-$40,000 a month. And it's just the sales part is the biggest thing. I always say I don't own an HVAC business. I own a sales and marketing company that happens to do HVAC.
100%.
And once the quicker you realize that, you don't have to be the best HVAC guy, you don't have to be the best technician, the best all this shit. You got to be the best marketer, the best sales guy, and then everything else will figure itself out. You could be the best installer on the planet. You can't sell anything. You don't make any money. You're going to go out of business, right? You're the best technician. And I think that's the biggest thing. We go in, we really honed in our processes. I do things different in the HVAC. Everybody else is waiting for the phones to ring, that they're waiting for broken shit. I got lucky. I worked at the best company in the country, I believe, as far as training with Leland Smith. I got to witness this guy in Southern California, 70 degrees out, and he built a $50 million business with no weather. So we learned how process that works on how do I generate revenue when it's 70 degrees out and cloudy. So that's why my company's during the slow season, we're growing while everybody else is sitting around waiting for calls to come in. We've learned a tune-up process where I can go in on a tune-up, a maintenance, turn a $49 maintenance into a $30,000 ticket. And we do it all year round. So we don't ever have those slow months. But most people, they come in the industry, they don't know that. So they're just sitting around waiting for Google calls. And ain't nobody calling Google when we're in Philly right now.
No, it's not.
It's middle of June. Ain't nobody calling for a fucking air conditioner.
It's literally 65, 70 degrees right now. We started laughing today. You said, yo, is it normally like this? I'm like, dude, we're mid-June and I don't use the word beautiful out, but it's cold, kind of nippy.
Well, that's part of knowing what to do, right? Like someone gets in the industry, they don't know what to do, right? Like I know what to do during certain times of the year, and you learn this. It takes time. Everybody thinks you can just figure out everything over a day. I'm 7 years into this now. I think we started in 2018. So yes, our 7 years since I started my first business. I didn't know what I know then. Back then, if I knew what I knew now back then, I'd be fucking stupid rich.
I say it all the time. Like, you could take me back 20 years and hand me a $1 bill, I'd be a billionaire today. By the time this age, take me back to when I'm 30, give me $1. $1. That's all we need is $1. And know what I want that dollar for?
What? Phone call?
No, I'd put it on my wall and just leave it there and say, this is what I started with. Because what you have up here, just nobody can compete with you. You just can't. You just know too much. I mean, the way you compute and process the information is at a rapid speed compared to anyone else. You made these mistakes. You're not going to make them again.
No.
You can smell bullshit a mile away. There's just so much that you see.
But you can smell your own bullshit a mile away. Like 100%. There's so many things I go back and it's like in my head, my ego was saying do this. And it's like, I would be able to call myself out then. But then when I was 30 years old, I got money coming in like crazy. Man, I turned that business from 0 to 5 million with no cash, no nothing. We were working out of a fucking parking lot. Within a year, we had a $5 million business and I'm 30 years old. I've never ran a business in my life.
The issue is this with businesses like that. Like, I don't even think a $30 million business. Like, we sold months for $36 million. Everyone knows that, right? And, I think the money's in the exit. Yeah. Like, you were partners with Pulte. Let's talk about that. How'd you meet Bill? What made you go with Bill? And
that
relationship's a different relationship. It's very different guys.
Yeah, we're great friends, and it's kind of funny. And I think it all stemmed back from, I was one of the first guys in the home service space to really put myself out on social media. No one else is doing it. And everybody does it now. And Tommy's and Lance, everybody does it now. Yeah. I was the first one. That's why me and Ishmael were like the ones battling back and forth. And so I put a lot of my stuff, my story on my social media and my YouTube and all this stuff. And Pulte found me. And keep in mind, Bill's the same age as me. He just turned 37. But he come from a wealthy background. But
you don't know who Pulte's father and grandfather is.
Yeah, so
those are Planet Earth.
They founded Pulte Homes, they're a Fortune 500 company. But he had already exited HVAC companies, so he started Southern Heating and Air. He sold that for 60-some million. He had another one up here actually.
Southern Heating and Air down south here.
Yeah, he had this one. He had another one here
in Atlanta. The one in Atlanta.
He was in Atlanta, and then he had one here in Philly that was a big company too. A-Star. He used to own A-Star. He grew that, exited that, so he's already done that. And he knows better, as you start making more money, like Lance and me, you don't want to be the fucking operator of a business. You want to be the investor. You want to pull the strings. You don't want to run the business. And so he learned that he finds someone like me, young, hungry horse that he can go put his money behind. And he's, hopefully, I can bring him in leads and grow the business for him. And, I actually had a partner, and I partnered with this guy in Colorado, and I'm like, you should find a deal where you can just be the investor. He's like, no, I'm going to run it. I want all of it. I was like, I'll tell you a secret. If the guy who owns the most equity has to do the most work. And that's how I look at it. So when I structure a deal, I don't want to be the majority shareholder because the majority shareholder has to do the majority of the work. So I learned that, from Pulte. We started making partnerships with people and everybody thinks that like every deal you do is going to make money. Reality, if you can get 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10, you obviously want to bring your odds, but like there's always going to be failures. We partnered when we first started doing deals. We just would take any deal. We didn't care who it was. We just wanted to get a deal done. I did deal with this company called Jackrabbit out of Miami. And this guy blames me for everything. I went in there. This business was completely bankrupt. We put $200,000 liquid cash in the thing. You tell him what to do, doesn't follow any of the fucking process, burns through the cash, goes bankrupt, and then we get blamed. I didn't make any money. We put $200,000 liquid. So we're out $200,000. Yeah, he lost his business. He would have lost it before we got there anyways. Right. And then I get blamed for everything. And these people bash me online. I'm like, Jesus himself couldn't have fixed that business. I promise you.
Well, it's not that Jesus himself could have fixed that business. If people want you to carry the cross,
yeah.
The saying goes, I will help you carry the cross, but I will not carry the cross for you.
Yeah.
And if you're religious, you understand what that means. Like, I'll help you and I'll help, but you got to, listen, full transparency. I'm fortunate we have a very high success rate at LB Capital. But as you know, I'm 52 years old. I'm very selective.
Yeah.
And I'm very selective. We take 1 out of every 200 deals that come our way, if that, right? Like, it's very, very selective. Because for that reason right there, it's not worth the ass-ache. Because if you're not going to, this is how I look at it, right? We'll have people that don't show up on time that's begging me for my time for a meeting, and they'll show up late. I know automatically you're not going to be my partner.
Yeah.
You have people that will reschedule. A guy, here's an example. So Lisa, what was the guy I was going to invest in? A hotel, right? The hotel chain. This hotel. I think you saw it today, right?
Today, yeah.
So I was going to invest in a hotel chain, right? In the general partner group. The guy and me have a 2-hour conversation. Think about this. I give this guy 2 hours of my time, right? That was a nice guy. I was interested, Guy does about $400 million in hotels revenue. I was like, okay, man, this is something I can get behind, right? Be part of the GP here, build this out to $1 billion, exit. His first couple on Friday, 2 weeks ago, just cancels right before. I don't hear from the guy to reschedule, nothing. Today, you saw the email. Let's pivot and invest in my oil company. Are you fucking high? Are you high? Like, Why would I ever partner with you? And then you saw how I responded back to the guy that put me in touch with this guy. And he's like, Lance, that's so rude of you. What do you mean it's rude of me? We're talking about investing in the hotels. You disappear, and that was trying to sell me oil. But like, you don't see an issue with that? And that's the problem with these partners don't understand. Aim small, miss small.
Yeah.
Like,
I also look at it like this. I look at speed. I built my whole brand around rockets and fast and let's move fast. And every business that I've in, we grow fast. That's what we do, right? And I also look at speed. Like I had a partner, I had like 3 or 4 deals I did up. I'd send the guy the fucking contract. He signed it. He didn't fucking go to a lawyer. He just signed the fucking deal. We went to work. Every one of those companies, we are blowing up in those markets.
Of course.
And then I get one guy and he's been dragging his feet for 4 months trying to make a deal, going back and forth with attorneys and all this stuff. And finally, last week I said, I'm not doing the deal anymore. He's like, what do you mean? I said, if you move this slow on a fucking contract on this little stuff, does not even fucking matter.
I can sue you over whatever. No matter what's in this paper,
we can sue.
If I want to sue you, I can sue you.
100%. So at the end of the day, I said, you move so slow that you're going to slow everybody else down. I'm not interested in that. Like speed, money's attracted to speed. And if you're taking that long to make a decision, how long is it going to make for you to fucking impact something, right? It's like the revolver effect. How long is it going to take before that revolver comes around and you pull the trigger again? Every time it's this slow, what do you think's going to happen on the rest of them?
I'm all about it. Like, so when we send agreements over, we tell you point blank, if you redline anything on my agreement, we just don't respond to you. Because I already know how it starts. You're so uneducated to understand this that you can sue me over anything. If I don't do right by you, you have the right to sue me.
Yeah.
I still have to be a steward of the business. I still have to do the right things with the money. I still have to grow it and do it my job. Well, you have the right to sue me.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
will you win?
Do you want an attorney to look at it? Of course you do. Do you want an attorney approval? But an attorney's job, all attorneys, this is why I think all attorneys are scumbags. And I said this to an attorney the other day. He actually said, Lance, you're one of the first few people to say it to me. I said, and he's my buddy, Matthew, right? I said, Matthew, you make no money if you settle this case. There's nothing for you to settle this case. Like, there's none. You want to get it all the way to trial and settle right before trial. Because you make all the money in discovery, going back and forth, and doing depositions, and then all of a sudden, magically,
they come back at
only 1% of all cases go to trial. People don't understand that. Stop watching Law and Order. Like, your lawyer is a scumbag, and most likely your lawyer went to a bullshit law school. Like, I'm not trying to be rude here, but everybody, oh my God. Lawyers go here. My lawyer is so smart. No, your lawyer is a fucking salesman.
Yeah.
Your lawyer is an actor. He's a salesman. He's a showsman. Like,
that's why the better the actor, the more money they make.
No doubt.
They really got more billboards. They're just putting on a bigger show.
But they have no desire to settle your case.
No.
Like, anyone you're paying, there's no different than the criminal system has no desire to reform criminals. That's the dumbest thing. When people are like, oh, criminals are sending criminals to get reformed. No, they're not. You're sending criminals to prison.
Yeah.
They keep the prison system people employed and they keep it going. It's one big hamster wheel. You don't want an empty seat nowhere, and no business does. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to. Tell me your biggest wins that you've had so far.
As far as like business wise,
besides kids are obvious, right?
I think the biggest thing for me is I honestly enjoy watching the coaching clients. I think my partner I have now in Arizona Fiscor, I will count him. We're going to exit the business. We're already going to market. We're going to get 30 million probably for the business, right? We already know that. But when I met him in 2021. He came to one of my very first sales training classes. I think it might have been my very first sales class I've ever ran. The guy was an alcoholic, out of shape. It looked like he was going to die from freaking diabetes. Like, he looked like he was going to pop. He was only doing $285,000 revenue for the year. That's it, revenue-wise. By himself, him and one other guy would help. They just fucking run calls all day, fixing parts, changing capacitors and shit. And, I worked with them for years, right? Before we ever partnered, we worked with them and we got him from, a one-guy guy to all of a sudden now we have 4 employees and we started growing the business. And he came to me last year I think it was in May of last year. He said, hey, I want to partner with you. All these other people want to give me nothing for my business. I said, fuck that. I'll help you grow it. And normally my deals, I don't take a 25% deal. I said, hey, look, I want you to win big. I love you, brother. I'm going to help you I should be taking 50 for this deal.
That's why I take 50. I have no problem. I take 50.
And I do now, and I'll take bigger portions. But I was like, I said, this is going to be the biggest thing that's ever going to happen in your life. You're not going to have another business. I'll have another business to sell next year and the year after that. I already know I'm going to have a lot of success. I said, I'm going to come in and help you as a friend. We came in and we changed that business around. I mean, there was a $2 million business in a town of 110,000 people. Now we're pacing for 18 million this year. We're going to do over 3 million in EBITDA. We're going to exit, this probably in the next 6 months, maybe sooner, depending on if we got enough buyers lined up already. And that guy, I'm going to change his life, and he told me the other day, he's like, I used to live on the roof of a Dairy Queen, homeless, not that long ago.
Yeah.
And now he just bought a multi-million-dollar home. He's got all these things that he can just completely change his life in 12 months. So I'll count that as one of our biggest wins. It'll be the biggest win once we exit that business. But yeah, I mean, I think
it's one of your biggest failures.
I think the biggest failure I ever did is started my business at 30 years old. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm a great sales guy. I can sell anything, operations, and understand it. But we still grew it. We still had money coming in. I made an acquisition at the end of 2020. During COVID, everybody's everything's good. The market's good. Freaking everything's trading at high multiples. And one of my buddies is a broker. His name's Patrick Lange. He said, I got this business in Indio. And the guy wants to sell it. And I'm like, well, anything I fucking touch turns to gold, right? I thought I had the Midas touch of, big 30-year-old kid with a big ego. Well, I didn't even have processes and systems in my own location. We're doing 12 million at that point. We were still all over a chaotic mess, right? So I thought it'd be a great idea to acquire a company 2 hours away while I have a fire here. So let's go buy this business. So I ended up overpaying, and I think Landon Brewer, all these guys, like, that's too much for that business. I'm like, no, it's gonna be a gold mine once I touch it, right? Ended up paying $3 million, got an SBA loan for it, $3 million for it. Well, go hire that business, get that business. Well, I get to learn really quickly that when you go through a transaction, not everybody's going to stay. So now I got a business 2 hours away. I'm paying $35,000 a month on an SBA loan, paying the nut on it. And I got to drive out there, and the fucking people wouldn't show up for an interview, couldn't hire people. So now I'm taking people from this business that's already on fire. Operationally, it's a mess. I'm sending people out there to go run this business. I got to a point where I was losing $90,000 a month on the business. And, my actually Pulte came to me. He's like, what is this? And I said, well, it's this business. I bought it. I'm paying this. No. So you're paying $35,000 a month, but you're losing 90. He's like, why don't you just take that motherfucker out back and shoot in the head, shut that fucking thing down, cut off the cancer. And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I can't do that. And he said, if you don't do it, you're good. The whole business is going to fail. Right. So anyway, I decided to shut it down. First off, I found out you're not allowed to do that on the SBA. If you shut down a business, then you got to pay the whole note. But obviously I worked my way through that and said, well, it's not shut down. It's just like, whatever. So I did that. My business was already making money. Well, now I got a $35,000 a month nut over there. I could have put $35,000 a month into marketing in my own business and blew it up, right? But instead, I'm cutting this check every month. I had to offload all the trucks. I had all this insurance, the building I had to offload. I was paying. So got in a big hole. I had to call all the borrowers. I said, hey, look, I'm fucked right now. I said, give me a 30-day or a 90-day deferral. Deferral this for 90 days. I'll fucking turn this around. I'll make sure every bill gets paid. And sure enough, the SBA helped me out. A couple other, my loans, my cars, all this stuff. And I thought I was going to go bankrupt. I went home that night crying. I'm like, we're done, And so finally I said, okay, we'll do this. Within 90 days, we got it back to making money, got it back to profitable. And so that was one of the worst decisions I ever made, was making that acquisition. But honestly, when I look back at it, it was paying for an education. It was telling you, Victor, you're being a fucking idiot. You need to slow down. You need to make better decisions. So I look at it, it sucked. It lost me a lot of money. It probably lost me $20-30 million in evaluation of what it could have been for my business if I went the right way. But at the end of the day, like, I was still young. I'm still young, 36 now. I wouldn't make the mistake again.
It's funny. I said this to Bill, because there's mixed reviews on you, right, in the industry. Let's just call it what it is. Like, people, I always say this, when you're successful, people hate you. I'm sure you made some mistakes, young guys. I made a lot of mistakes. Because I'm fortunate, when I was your age, the internet was just coming out, right? Like, if social media was around when I was making mistakes in my 20s, and like, but Bill Rizzo said to me, because someone asked Bill Rizzo, why is Lance always so loyal to Victor? He's always commenting and posting good stuff about Victor, and he's always, and Victor's burnt some people. And Bill Rizzo said, Victor's been nothing but good to LB Capital, everyone here. And before we were at LB Capital, like, when I was at One SEO, you were good to me.
Yeah.
Like, you were always just a good man to me. Can you talk about some of those relationships that you probably do back in time and handle things better? But Also, some people just are fucking haters. And
Yeah, you're going to have
they
that.
go pound sand.
Well,
The haters.
you know, a lot of it started with the Ishmael thing, right? We were competitors in the same market, going after the same people. We were both growing a big business at the same time. So a lot of it stemmed from the fighting there.
Two guys with big egos.
Two guys with big egos. And you know, me and Ish have had back and forth. And like I said, I'm at the point now in my life, I don't want any drama in my life, period. I got too much going on. But back then, you know, we were feeding into it. On top of that,
He likes it. He enjoys it. He likes to stir the pot.
He likes to stir the pot, and I'm done past that. I used to stir the right back, and I won't do that. You know, the same thing. I started a marketing agency in 2020. I grew it to, you know, we had 120 clients within the first 90 days. We grew this marketing company. Now we're taking clients from other people that got big podcasts, and we were starting to take their clients. That created an issue. So we had that. And then there's just a bunch of different things that it just kind of stemmed from me trying to build my business. Instead of realizing you can multiple people can be in the same area, I went, hey, I want to burn that person. I want to talk shit about that company rather than just, you know, it wasn't the best way to go about it. I was also a fucking maniac. I party like crazy. You know, I'll tell you right now, there's never been a bigger rock star in the home service space. I don't think. I was fucking wild. I spent $1 million a year at a party.
And I said this to Bill, and I truly believe this. A sober, clean Victor is one of the most dangerous entrepreneurs out there. But when you're off kilter,
oh yeah,
I mean, it's like
it's way out there. And like I said, and that's something I thought
you are good at what you do.
Yeah,
like you're great to have as a partner. You're great to grow businesses. You know, I've yet to find too many people in home services that actually can do what you do and grow and scale companies at the pace you do. And then on the same note, when you get a little off kilter, it's like, yeah, well, the jacket comes out and Vic comes out and it's off to Neverland.
Yeah. And like I said, I think, you know, it's, you know, I never had anybody to answer to. And I think that, you know, as you grow and you think like, I look at the mistakes now and mistakes stop me, but also at this point, it's legacy. I've made so many mistakes and burned so many bridges. I'm like, that's not the legacy I want to have. I don't want to be the legacy as a party guy. I'm going to exit a lot of companies. I'm probably going to be one of the most wealthy people that's ever been in home service. And that's where I'm aiming for now. I want to make a lot of people rich. I want to make myself rich. And I'm trying to fix the legacy now. And I didn't see it. I wasn't looking from a bird's eye view. I was only looking what was in front of me at the time. Right.
Yeah. Most people don't look at that bird's eye view. You know, I find it interesting. Most people don't know what a good man you are. And I got to know you. I consider you a friend at this point in my life. I mean, you stay at my house when you're here. Most people don't realize you take care of your ex-wife and kids. Like you still, and you said one of the most astounding things to me that most men never do. Because I remember, all the guys I know, half were divorced and they talk shit on their ex and the money this and all the dumb stuff I hear men say about their ex. I'm like, it's the mother of your kids, you idiot. But I mean, to this day, I've never said a bad word about Andrew's mother. Like and when people do, I ask them to be quiet because I'm like, it's the mother of my child. Like, just don't say a bad word, right? You pay for your wife's whole lifestyle. You won't let her go back.
We were never married. So like,
okay,
a lot of people think like, you know, I'm not forced to pay her anything. Realistically, I don't have to. And when I told you earlier, I said, you know, why would I make my kids' lifestyle change when they're with her because of my decision to leave their mom? And she's, you know, mother of my children. She's a great person. She homeschools them. I've also made her reliant on me, right? Like,
I know, but most men don't do that. That's a good man. Most men don't do that. Most men I meet are so selfish, self-absorbed with money. I said to you today, like I was laughing, I was just doing the math. I'm like, dude, you got to make $1 million before you get any spending money.
Yeah,
that's a true statement. You got to do $1 million in income for you just to have spending money.
I was laughing the other day. Someone's like, "Oh, I heard you're broke," and I said, "Brother, you know where I live?" I said, "I live in Southern California. I live 300 yards from the water. Like, not on the fucking. I can walk to the water in a couple minutes, right? And I also have an ex. I pay for all her entire house, my entire house. I got to think that I'm broke is crazy. Now, do I have to spend a lot of money to live? Yeah, but it's an expensive lifestyle, but." The other day, I'm far from fucking broke. I just thought it was funny. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
I mean, you can't be broke when you're doing that. Like, and I seen your house and it's beautiful, and you are right there on the beach.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's not. Let's talk about this. What do you think the biggest reason why these small businesses can't grow? Because when people call me up, so the partner, you heard one call say you guys trying to partner with me. You heard it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not for me, right? Like, I knew what probably a minute into the call.
Yeah.
I'm like, my man.
We were pulling, this guy calls Lance and we're driving in this Sprinter and we're driving, this guy's fucking talking. Both of us are just like, I would rather drown than have to deal with this guy as a partner. But anyway, but yeah, it's all the time. Like, I mean, just like you do, I mean, you get it more than I do. People want a partner, right? And it's like, you talk to them and it's like, okay, when I look at a partner, I look at, okay, is this guy capable of actually implementing anything, right? And then also like that guy was wearing, I mean, he was telling us he was in all these different industries and I'm like, and none of them are working. So like, how is that guy going to be able to have time to be able to partner with you? But I think the first thing, going into the companies is I got to figure out, where are my leads coming from? Like, how are they getting customers? Because obviously if you can't get customers, then that's going to be a problem. And then just like you would, the first thing I want to do, like, and every market we've ever gone in, we went into Vegas, we've been in Sacramento and all these things we went into. Very first thing I get is a salespeople. Like if you can't get salespeople, you're going to go shit creek.
And, it's funny. I sat with a guy last night. I feel bad for him because he's a big good friend of me. I'm not going to say what it is, but he does about $30 million in revenue and he has about $9 million in debt. Right. And that's just not a good spot to be in. People don't understand when you get $9 million in debt, well, you're doing $30 million. If you're doing $30 million in revenue, you're probably a good business. A great one's going to do $6 million in EBITDA. Most are going to be doing $3 to $4 million in EBITDA. You hear that? But your kids get it. Answer it. Believe me, it's my sons. I'd be answer it.
It's not my kids. I just don't know why it's.
Listen, I always tell everyone can answer the children all the time. He can't pay that note back.
No.
And he can't get underneath it. And, it's funny. I was talking to Jolene, who's my CFO, last night. She said, what are you going to do? I said, as good as I am, when you have that kind of debt and you're hemorrhaging, and it just shows, like, and it's a big, nice company. It's been around for 10 years. Great brand. I'm like, he's over. Like, and now he's talking about taking, the loans that give you the money and they hit you with 3-4 points up front. And then every year is 5 points plus you pay back just interest and they take it when you sell. It's a never ending.
So these businesses are cash flowing businesses. Like, so if you're not cash flowing, you'd be like Fiscor. I didn't put a penny into that deal. We grew it, all the stuff off our own cash. We didn't have to get in a bunch of debt to do it.
I don't put money in any of my deals, and the cash that's in the bank, they all grow.
And why
it ain't that hard.
If you look at it like this, and I always say debt equals death. Okay. And once you get too much debt in the business, it's just dying. It just hasn't died yet. It's just like bleeding out.
Just shut it down.
And shut it down. And it's like, how do you, what do you do? Right. And a lot of people, they just keep feeding it. Right. And they still get more debt and more debt. And they're like, well, if I get more money, if I just need to get another loan, and then I'll be able to do this.
I'm going to say money is the answer 1% of the time, 99% of it. And I actually said to this guy last night because he was showing me the financial reports. I said, because he didn't have the financial literacy to really understand it. I said, your dad's the problem. He goes, no, my dad's not the CFO. But if your dad's the one dealing with the CFO, then your dad's the problem. The CFO is not going to give a shit. The CFO is going to go find another job. I'm in a different position. Jolene's with me for 17 years. She's my sister. She's come up from nothing with me. So she wants to eat more. She's paying attention to the numbers. Make sense?
Yeah.
When your dad's sitting there, whoever's sitting there and saying it's the CFO's problem, the CFO is never going to save your business. And the nice part is you don't need him to save your business. You just got to become financially literate. Yeah. You got to have that financial literacy.
Well, and obviously I'm a salesman at heart. I never knew operation. I didn't know finance. Like, that was the one thing. And I talked to a lot of people. They're like, well, I'm the sales guy, or I'm just this. I'm the technician. I said, no, you're the fucking operator. You need to know the numbers better than they know the numbers.
Have to. But they don't believe they have to. And they believe in discounting and they don't understand. And like that's, it's funny because when you look for partners, I look for partners that are good men. I do.
Yeah.
And people that are going to implement, like you said, people that are coachable. And the fucking crazy part is 90% of the people that call me up, the partner, tell me how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're like key things they'll say, like, oh, we're going to do this, or we can do. I'm like, wait a minute. If it's my team, my leadership team, and our playbook, and I have all this success now in growing these companies, don't you think you might want to take a step back and listen to the coach?
Well, I see this all the time. They think they know best. Well, it's even worse when you get into a business and then they realize they don't have operational control anymore, and they're trying to make their same dumb decision. We're trying to help them, and they're like, "No, this is how it needs to be done." I said, "If that's how it needs to be fucking done, you wouldn't have fucking called me." right? And I went into this company in Colorado. We did a deal with this guy, and he had $700,000 in debt. He couldn't pay it back. I said, look, we'll take over the business. We'll take 80% of it. You'll take 20. I'll take over the debt. We're gonna fix this thing. We go in there a freaking month in. He's going nuts because I'm changing all these things. He was paying a technician $75 an hour plus commission. Like, oh, everything's all fucked up, right? And I'm like, he's like, no, I have to do it that way. I said, no, we're not doing it that way. After 30 days of working with the guy, I said, here's your business back. Enjoy your fucking debt. I'm not working with you because he wouldn't want to change.
Usually I did it twice now. I've done it twice. And one of them is that same exact thing is, and this guy's a great guy. This one guy, I'm not going to say his name. He's such a good guy, but he's out of Atlanta and I consider him a friend today. And but like he was paying sales reps that weren't hitting GP. He's like, well, you got to pay him. I'm like, we're going to be out of business. Our cash is just deleting and this is the problem. People don't realize everyone makes money except for you. Well, when you're standing alone, everyone else gets new jobs. Yep. They're leaving you anyway. Yep. They're leaving you anyway. So you might as well have them leave when you hold them to the standard of we got to make money.
Why would I go to work to lose money if I can sit at home and not make?
I say it all. Like, it's funny. Like people hate Trump with the tariffs thing. I'm like, guys, if you understand how this thing, listen, whether you're a Trump fan or not, he's 100% right about the tariffs. Yeah, he's 100% right. Nowhere in your world would you pay me to come to work. No. Nowhere in your world. No. And you wouldn't lose every time you gave me money. I gave you less money back. And if you would, you're a complete idiot. Like just that simple. You know, here's another question for you, Victor. Why do you think that all these guys never grow their business? Like, what's the 3-4 biggest things that why don't grow their businesses? And they all want to sell their business. Do you agree that most people want to sell their business? Most people want to be millionaires.
Most people want to be. I would agree. Most people want to be millionaires.
So most people want to be millionaires. Why do most people never get it? I want to hear, because I know we ran late here, so I just want to get that out of you.
So, I mean, I think the reason why people don't get there is first off, they don't systemize anything, right? Like if you're trying to do everything yourself, it's like playing whack-a-mole all day. You can't focus on the business. I think the first thing is, taking themselves out of the business and hiring and trusting people. If you can't hire and trust people, you might as well not run a business. You'd be better off working for somebody else. Like don't even waste your time. The other one is charging the right price, right? Statistically, the SBA says that 95% of home service companies will fail within the first 5 years and 98% in the first 10 years. And then another one reason why they fail is because they don't charge enough up front to be able to cover long-term costs. We all look at the money today, but I got to cover, like if I look at an HVAC unit, I got to be out there for the next 10 years to cover my ass.
I heard you say it to a guy today. I started laughing because the guy's like, whoa, he's going off a chat GPT with the, and you're like, yo, I mean, come on.
We can't do that. And, and the other thing, contractors, because they get so desperate, they'll take any deal, right? Like if they'll take all these deals and they don't realize that they're just going to work for free or losing money on it. So understanding that, understanding the cash flow of the business and really understanding like some of these businesses, you guys are a jack of all trades and master of none. So like I went in my business in Arizona. I said, we went in there, we were doing commercial, we were doing residential, we were doing new construction, we were doing all this. I said, no, we don't do that. We're doing mini splits. I'm like, we don't do this. We do residential replacement of existing systems, period. And that is it. If I can't do a job, if I can't get the job done and collected within 72 hours, I don't do the job anymore. Right. And my partner's like, well, I make all my money doing this. And I said, I'll show you how you're not making any money. I'll show you don't make any money doing that. So anyways, we went in there, we really narrowed down our SKUs, narrowed down what we did. And so this is what we do. Someone calls in for a mini split. We don't do that. If someone calls in for commercial, we don't do that. We narrowed it down and then we became the best of those three things. So like even on our equipment pricing, I have 5 options. There's only 3 different systems. So my guys are only installing 3 different systems. They know how to do that every single day. They can do it fast. So my guys are installing 2 to 3 units a day right now. In Arizona, it's 105, or we'll do 3 installs a day per crew. Everybody else has got 1 crew tied up for multiple days on these mini splits and all these bullshit jobs. I've collected on 3 jobs with that same crew. Who's making more money?
Oh, you are.
Yeah. So it's really narrowing, understanding the business, and then, inch wide, mile deep. One of the big mistakes I made with Absolute is when I started my business, you try to take anybody.
Nah, you can't.
I was
not everybody's your customer. I tell people that all the time. Not everyone's your. The guy wanted to join my coaching group, right? He drives all the way up here, and next thing he's trying to negotiate. I'm like, I don't need $100,000. Like $100,000, I mean, and I don't even take money out. Like it covers the cost of like. I'm like, dude, don't join. I'm not negotiating. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? Like, pack your shit. Go back to where you came from. Like, and you don't even want to deal with people like that.
No, you'll know right away what kind of customer you're dealing with. They're trying to negotiate up front. What do you think's going to happen if you don't follow through with one little thing or one thing happens? Or, I told you, we were sitting behind the screen. I said, these people think they own you for $10,000 because $10,000 to them is a lot of money. $10,000 to you is not a lot of money. And now when they spend that kind of cash, they feel like they own you. So that's why it's like, feels like it's
no one's going to own me. It's that way. That is the point in my life. Listen, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. If someone's get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you, Victor? Where can they find you at?
I mean, the best place is follow me on Facebook or Instagram. It's Victor _ Rancor, RANCOUR. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Or you can reach me, call profitrocket.com. Check out our website. Check out, if you're in the HVAC space, come to one of my masterminds. You'll see that we really try to give you the system, the process that you need to scale your company.
Thank you, brother. Did I miss anything, Jacob? No problem. We rocked in. You ready? Welcome back to the Exit Rich podcast. I got my friend Victor Rancor, president of Rocket Group. He has Rocket training for HVAC companies. He's owned HVAC companies. He's sold HVAC companies to private equity. He's been part of the Bill Pulte Group. I mean, this guy has done it all. One of the best coaching trainers out there in the HVAC industry. Thank you so much for flying in, Victor, and being here today. I appreciate it, brother.
It's a pleasure. That intro got me excited, brother. It's kind of crazy to even think that I've done some of this stuff, but to be on your podcast is a pleasure. So.